It's time for a January wrap-up. Okay, hello. It has been over a year since I've posted a wrap-up. I can't believe that, honestly, but it's time. It's time because this is like the best way for me to actually talk through like all of the books that I've been reading, what I've been enjoying, what I haven't been enjoying, and it's time to bring the wrap-ups back. So we're doing that right now, and in January I read 13 books, which is actually like quite a decent amount for me. It just feels like I read like a lot, or maybe it was just that January was like 74 years long that it felt like I read a lot in that time. I don't know. But let's just dive into it, talk about it. Like I said, I'm really hopeful that I will post, 12 monthly wrap-ups this year to really just like talk about all that I have been reading. To start off the year, the first book that I read is Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. This is the Fairy Loot edition. I will put up the like other covers. So I read Bonded by Thorns, Woven by Gold, and Forged by Malice, which are the first 3 books in the series. There are currently 4 out, but I think it's planned 7 books. I just like binged them and I almost started the 4th one. I'm like, okay, like let me give myself a little break. But yeah, they were all 5 stars for me because this is like, what is in this? It is just so addictive, and it starts out as a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I will be honest with you guys, Beauty and the Beast retellings, I'm like, ugh, okay, like I get it, like it's been done enough, but this was just, it deviated so fast from that I was like, okay, like I'm chilling, I'm having a fun time, it's all good. And also, like, let's just look at these men, please. Thank you. Obsessed with them. So we're following Rosie, and she just like is kind of like an outcast in her town, and her dad's like this crazy guy. He's like, I believe in fairies, and that my wife was taken by a fairy, and the town's like, okay, you're like crazy. And then he goes missing, and Rosie goes after her father, and of course he is captured in this castle in the place they called the Briar, where all 4 like seasonal fae princes live, and she barters to be, swapped his imprisonment for hers, and thus she gets brought into the world of the fae with the winter prince, the summer prince, the fall prince, and the spring prince. And I love all these princes. Okay, first of all of their personalities are like so distinct, and just like the character development over the 3 books was just crazy. It was crazy. They're cursed, right? Because it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and the only way that they can break their curse is if they find their fated mate. So Rosie's like, all right, I'll help you guys find your fated mates. Okay, and it's a why choose. Okay, so I love all of these men so much. It's also like a why choose in the sense that the men also have relationships with each other, which I think is, I kind of prefer my why chooses to occur that way, because to me it just makes sense. Like, I feel like all of the fae are like just like bi, like they're not, I don't think they, from the way the world is written, it doesn't seem like sexuality is such of like a, you're straight, you're bi, you're gay, like it just is what it is, which I like that non-heteronormative world. It's just so much fun. There's just so much like shenanigans, there's just like more plots that happen, and like I love all of the men. I love the direction that the series is going in. It's just like compulsively readable, and honestly probably my top why choose that I've ever read. I am giving the title to this book. It is probably my favorite why choose. I don't know what it is about it, but I just love it. I just think like it's just so fun. Like all of these, I think it's really truly like the fact that these princes all just feel so distinct and unique, and like they truly like have these like very defined personalities, and I have like a clear picture of like who each of them are, and like the authors are able to balance all of this, and it's just, I think, amazingly done. So 5 stars to all 3 of the first books. Okay, honestly, January had so many bangers. Like, I really read so many good books, and I'm so excited to talk to you about them. Next is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is actually an ARC copy that I received, but I love this one so much. I am going to pick up a finished copy soon, and I will be continuing to read this series because I was just like, I really just need something cozy and sweet, and this delivered. And I've seen Regan from Peruse Project talk about this series a lot, and like is kind of what inspired me to pick it up. And the thing that she says is like, it feels like you're playing like a farm sim, but like in book form. And truly I was like, I need to play Fae Farm because this book just feels like Fae Farm. And we're following Keela, and she's a librarian, and she's very like shut off from the world. She just like wants to work and live in the library, and she's also friends with this sentient spider plant named Kaz. I love Kaz. He was the comedic relief. His one-liners were so sassy and crazy. So basically there's this revolution happening and they're about to loot the library, so they pack up all the books that they can and they flee to this outer island. This outer island is actually where Keela grew up, and it's her family's old abandoned cottage, and she kind of has to, you know, move to this new place and start over, and also maybe she will sell jam and use it as a front to sell forbidden magic because the people of the island need it. And it, like, again, like, it just really like felt like I was playing like a cozy video game. There was a cute little romance in here that was just like so adorable. Like, he built her bookshelves and I was like, wow, goals. I loved like the magic, and definitely it's a little bit of a slower paced, cozier book. If that is something that you like, I think you will like really like this one, because I've read some cozy books that like work and some that don't work for me, and this one worked for me, so I was very excited by that. And I think the next one coming out in like July is about the Enchanted Greenhouse, which seems like it's gonna be like even more cottagecore, and I'm like, okay, cottagecore, like fantasy, like cozy fantasy, oh, so good. This is kind of reminds me of the same like vibe as like the Honey Witch, which I also like really loved, that I read last year. So Spell Shop was 5 stars. Next, I was continuing on in my cozy fantasy era, and I picked up How to Woo a Warrior Orc by January Bell. And this is her Wild Oak Woods cozy spicy fantasy series. So this one's definitely spicier than the Spell Shop. Spell Shop had like no spice really. And I gave this one 3 stars. I do like January Bell like a decent amount. Like, her books are just like really fun and easy to breeze through, but I just felt like this book was just like missing a little something. Like, I felt like I just needed a little bit more from like the plot and the romance development, but like I still had so much fun because I love this cozy world. We're following Piper, who is a baker, and then this orc that has come along with the people that have escaped the Unseelie Court in the previous book, and he just works in the bakery with her, and like, so it is like so cute and adorable. So I would maybe give it like 3.5 stars. It was just, I feel like there's just sometimes like books that like I'm enjoying it while I'm reading it, and then like at the end I'm like, okay, and like I don't want to give them like a low rating, but it's like, it's not like I regret reading them, they're just like not my like ride or dies. So, but like, you know, like it's still worth reading the book even if it's not your favorite. I don't know how to describe that feeling. If you guys like know what I'm saying, like sometimes, you know, you have fun while you're there and then you're like, okay, and then you kind of move on. So that's kind of how I felt about this one. But again, like I did appreciate like the cozy vibes. I just feel like there were so many stunners this month that it was hard to compete. Speaking of absolute stunners that it's hard to compete with, Iron and Embers by Helen Schreier. So this is actually the Nerd Fam PR. If you are somebody that reviews books, I highly recommend signing up for their newsletter, because they do a lot of really cool like PR boxes, and you sign up to be like considered for a PR box. Like, they're not just like randomly sending boxes to people. If you really enjoy a series and you see a box coming out, and you will get the email and you can sign up for it. On principle, I have tried to be very like selective with the arcs that I'm applying for. Like, I used to apply for a lot more, and I just like don't really, because I want to make sure if I am applying for an arc that I am giving it like my full attention. And so yeah, but this, like the Legends of Thesmar series, I have it right here. I think it was in my number 2 spot of 2024. Like, I love that series so much. I love the characters so much, and the tension between Ren and Torge in that series that continues on over to this first book was amazing. Ren is the sister of Thea, who is the main character of the Blood and Steel series. I will say, I do think you need to read that series first. I will just put it out there. You're going to be completely spoiled for the first series, and you're also not going to have any basis for really like knowing these characters. So like, you're going to kind of be like, okay, like why do I care? Like, it is deeply like entrenched within the world itself, so I don't think that you should just go into this one. I think you should just consider it like book number 5 in the series, to be honest with you. You know, like in a new arc of the series. So we're following Ren, and she is an alchemist that was trained at the fortress at Thesmar, but she wants to go to this essentially college to become a master alchemist. So this is where you like truly like master your skills, and it's kind of like, it did remind me almost of like the kind of like military college vibe of Fourth Wing, but like for alchemy, where it's like very like cutthroat, and like you have to like know what you're doing in terms of like your poisons and your remedies and like creating things. The way it was described was actually like so fun. Like, I really enjoyed getting to explore what it is to be like an alchemist in this world. Like, that part, like, I think that, like, Helen Schreier does, like, she just, like, entrenches you in the lives of what these characters are going through so well. Like, in the Legends of Thesmar series, like, I feel like Thea's warrior training was just so well described, and that was one of the things that really made the series stand out to me. And in this one, the alchemist training is crazy. Like, you really can see how Ren's mind works when it comes to alchemy and, like, potions, and it feels almost like, you know, the magical version of chemistry, essentially. And she's such a little, like, badass alchemist. I love it. And then, okay, however, there is some unrest going on, and for reasons I won't specifically mention here, she gets assigned a bodyguard, which is the war sword Torge, who has basically been holding a torch for Ren since the end of the last series, but she is just so traumatized by the events of the Legends of Thesmar series that for the past 5 years she's kind of just, like, shut herself out from society until she gets the opportunity to go to this alchemist academy, and he is her bodyguard. So we have, like, forced proximity, and it's almost, I don't want to say it's, like, second chance, because there was never really, like, a first chance, but, like, they just, like, have, like, a history there, so there's just, like, a lot of angst, a lot of yearning. Oh my god, the way that, like, these characters, like, are just, it's just so good. It's so good because they're just, like, fighting feelings, and, like, there's just a lot of emotional depth to both of their journeys as well, and, like, it's just, like, a masterclass in fantasy romance. Like, Helen Schreier is an audible author for me. Like, everything she does, I feel like she just gets better and better. I love this one so much. I loved the alchemy, I love the academy, I love the bodyguard thing, I just love the way their relationship developed, and the ending ripped my heart out. One thing about Helen Schreier is she knows how to keep up the tension in the relationship between the main couple. However, that means that there's usually something that happens at the end of the book that makes you, like, want to rip your hair out, because you're just like, what just occurred? And it will, but it keeps the relationship from becoming, like, stale, to the point where you're, like, reading, like, the 5th spicy scene when they're just, like, happy, and you're like, okay, like, I get it. Like, you know, like, I think a good, like, romance just, like, has this thread of tension and this, like, almost, like, will they, won't they kind of thing threading through it. So, like, the way that this ended literally made me want to die. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I get it, but, like, are you kidding me? And I am anxiously waiting the next one. A good thing is she writes fast, so the next one's coming out in July. I will be seated. I will be reading it immediately. This is, like, this ascends 5 stars. It's, like, 6 stars. Like, oh my god, I'm just, like, in love with this, and I can't wait. I have a copy from Blackwell's on the way with sprayed edges, so I'm very excited that I was able to snag one of those. This is going to be traditionally published in, like, Australia and the UK, but it is still indie in the US. I don't know if that means that eventually, like, print rights will go trad in the US, but for now there is just, like, the indie editions that you can buy on Amazon. And then again, this was a gifted copy from the Nerd Fan PR, so thank you for the gifted copy. Okay, I feel like I just spoke for, like, hours about Legends of Thesmar, but, like, deserve. Okay, so next, this author is going to appear quite a lot on this list, and the next book I read is The Midnight Arrow by Zoe Draven. I love Zoe Draven so much. She's my favorite alien romance author. I would say her and Victoria Aveline, and probably Ruby Dixon too, but, like, I feel like Zoe Draven and, like, Victoria Aveline are, like, a little bit of Ruby Dixon. In the alien romance genre, I just feel like they're, like, just their books are just, like, the best. This new series that she's starting, it technically is alien because it's on an alien planet, but it feels like it could be, like, a fantasy or paranormal romance as well, because it's with these, like, gargoyle vampires, and it's set on a different planet, but it doesn't, I guess, necessarily have, like, those elements of, like, space travel and or, like, humans from Earth getting trapped somewhere else. Like, in this universe, the humans have just been living among all the different, like, species for, like, years and years, so it's, like, in a future where, you know, Earth has dispersed its humans amongst other places. So we're following Healer, and she's kind of just been, like, living on the edge of the society, and oh, and this is a novella, by the way, so it was a really quick read. She's been living on the edges of, like, the society and just kind of keeping to herself, tending to her garden, and this Kylor, who are the vampire gargoyles that I mentioned, just, like, shows up, like, wounded, and he's like, I need you to heal me, and then their romance starts from there. I mean, it was able to pack an emotional punch and just, like, a story arc within a, you know, a short amount of novella. I really loved it. I loved, like, I don't know, I just love Zoe Draven, okay? Like, she just has got that it factor where, like, she can just do the characters so well, the yearning so well, the world building so well. Like, I had a lot of fun, and it was a really good addition to the Brides of Kylor series, which I am fairly waiting for the third book to come out, which I think she's writing right now, and I will be reading it the second it comes out because I love it. Desire in His Blood by Zoe Draven, which is the first one, is like literally like the hottest book I've ever read in my life. It's like my favorite. I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, this was a good addition to that universe. So yes, Midnight Arrow was 5 stars. Like I said, it's a month of bangers. Next is Onyx Storm. I am posting an entire reading vlog for this next week. It's non-spoiler with like a tiny spoiler section at the end. But I'll give you my quick thoughts here. But you know, check out that video for my more like in-depth reactions. This was 5,000 stars, okay? I feel like it was truly like such a good addition to the series, and at the midpoint really like bulked up the world building a lot, really had me like questioning what exactly is happening. I honestly didn't predict a lot of where it went, and that really just kept me on the edge of my seat. The ending, oh my god, there were some like really emotional like points throughout this book too. Like I just feel like this is like truly just like a very, very well done, intricate like fantasy romance with like a lot of world building, a lot of politics, and just a lot going on for it. I loved like her description of just like the military maneuverings and all that, and also like I have my Basquiat War College sweatshirt on that I finally bought myself. I love this. I thought it was so well done. Violet and Xaden's love story just like gets stronger and stronger with every book, and just like the way they love each other in this book is just so well done. I love the dragons. I love all of our characters. They're all just so like, it's just all so well done. And I'm obsessed, okay? I'm obsessed. I'm like all the other girlies, I'm obsessed. Onyx Storm, 6,000 stars. Thank you very much. These next 3 I'm going to group together, and this is more Zoe Draven, and this is The Alien's Touch, The Alien's Dream, and The Alien's Obsession, which are 3 books in her Warriors of Luxuria series. So it's her first alien romance series, and I could definitely tell some of her earlier works, like I definitely think her later books are more unique within the alien romance genre. Like this one is kind of following like a very similar, I would say, formula to the rest of the alien romance genre, which isn't like a bad thing, but I was just traveling for work and I was just having a rough anxiety time, and I'm like, I just need something that's like really just like will keep me turning the pages and I don't have to think too hard about. And these are these books. So we're following these women, and they were basically like captured, and they were at this place called the Pit, where they were like a prize for like a fighting ring, and then they're rescued by these Luxurians. And so now all these women are just hanging out on this planet, and they're trying to figure out a way to get them back to Earth. But like in the meantime, all of these Luxurian men are having their fated mate instincts awoken for these human women, and of course, you know, there was something that wiped out their female population, so there's not many women on this planet like left for these characters. It's very following the formula of like the most basic alien romance, and I think as Zoe Draven has gone on, she's like kind of developed past that like very standard formula, but still I can just tell it still has the hallmarks of her writing, where like her characters are just well done. Like it just keeps you reading the pages, the world is interesting, and they're just compulsively readable. Like I just find myself like I just keep reading and reading and reading and turning the pages and like just having a lot of fun that way. So they're fun. I would say all of these are about like 3.5, 4 stars. You know, like they're fun. Okay, next is my one contemporary romance book. I like keep telling myself I'm in a contemporary romance mood, and then I never like actually am, but I did pick this one up while I was on the plane. Give Me Butterflies by Jillian Meadows. I was really, really excited for this one because it's pitched to me as a STEM romance, and I'm like, okay, slay. We're following an entomologist and an astrologer, and an astronomist, okay, that work at this museum, and they kind of like start off not really like liking each other at the museum, and then they soon blossom into something else. I want to give this one like a 3-star because I feel like it's pitched to me as a STEM romance, and these people like working in this kind of sciencey environment, and then it barely ever involved any of like the sciencey environment. Like I was just expecting something like Allie Hazelwood, where like it plays into the plot, and like it was there, but like most of the plot was like her bonding with this guy's like children, or you know, like adopted children basically, and it just really like that, and that part was like fine, but like I was really there to be like, okay, I want to see like these 2 scientists falling in love. And like while they did, I just felt like this, I don't know, like it just wasn't giving me what I had the expectation for, and it fell flat for me in that way. So that's kind of why it just ended up as a 3-star. I mean, like their relationship was very beautiful and stuff like that. I also just feel like they moved past the rivals stage like way too fast. So he was like I hate you for like 2 seconds and then was over it. So you know, it was fine. It was okay. It was 3 stars. And then the last book I have to talk about is from one of my favorite series. The first 2 books in the series had the number 3 spot on my top 10 books of 2024. I just posted that video last week, so go check it out if you're curious to hear more. And this book is A Promise of Lies by Claire Sager. I love the series so much. We're following Catherine, who has the same name as me, and she is kind of like this human just like stuck in this like not great marriage situation, and she gets called to the human court, so it's like kind of very Regency setting, but there are Fae ambassadors there as the queen is trying to select a consort. Part of the reason that she has gotten called to court is that she is going to be a spy, and she is tasked to spy on this Fae emissary, Night Queen's shadow, Bastion. Okay, so, and he has shadow powers, obviously. And it's kind of like them as they're like playing this game of like cat and mouse. It's like who's spying on who's doing what. The court politics and machinations are very, very well done. And so in this 3rd book, like I think the 2nd book kind of like switched up the setting. Like we got a lot of character development from Kat, and then this 3rd book kind of like brought us back to the beginning of like the whole like spying concept, because now Kat is like behind enemy lines and she's once again trying to spy. And like I just feel like these characters went on such a good journey, and like I really feel like in this book in particular was more focused on like Bastion's emotional journey, whereas like maybe the other 2 books were more like what Kat had to overcome. But Bastion like has a lot of trauma in his life. He's not just like a hot shadow daddy that's that way for like just cause. He like has trauma and has reasons to be the way that he is, and like the way that like Kat was just able to like comfort him and like help him like overcome all of these things that were like really holding him back was just so beautiful and so well done. Like these characters are so well rounded. I like truly like believed in their love story. First of all, okay, her name is Catherine. She has red hair and she's curvy, and Bastion is obsessed with her thighs. So I was like, self-insert myself into that situation. And I really like, I appreciate also like Kat's confidence as like a mid-size female character in a fantasy romance, because we don't get that too often. I'm always looking for more I guess body diversity in fantasy romance, so if you know any, like let me know. But like I don't know, I just like see a lot of my, I don't know, like personality wise, but I see a lot of like my traits in her. So I just was like, who doesn't want a shadow daddy that worships your thunder thighs, you know? And thunder thighs said like in a loving, beautiful way. Obsessed. Definitely like a 6-star series for me. Like, oh, just like thinking about like all of the politics that happened, all of like the romance, and like just like the way these characters were there for each other, all of like the plot reveals and the way that everything like ended. Like I just feel like it went like boom 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 boom, and it was crazy the whole time, and I loved it and I adored it, and I think it worked really, really well as a trilogy. It wasn't like too wrung out or anything like that, and like just the ending was absolutely bananas. And I did read it on the plane as I was trying to like not throw up from really, really bad turbulence. So thank you, Claire Sager, for writing that to get me through that horrific experience, because I was unwell. But I had a really, really like amazing time reading the series, and I just love these characters so much, and it's so like it's just gonna stick with me, right? And I do have to pick up a physical copy because I have got the 1st book, but I need the 2nd and 3rd book to be on my shelf as little trophies, because it is definitely one of my new all-time favorite fantasy romances, and I will be looking to Claire Sager, seeing what else she comes out with, and probably reading it. So like I said, 13 books read this month. I feel like the majority of them were actually 5 stars, which is pretty typical for me. I'm known as somebody, I feel like, that gives away a lot of 5-star ratings, and like that's totally fine. That's just how I live my life. If I enjoyed a book and I liked it, it's getting 5 stars. And I'm not thinking too hard on am I giving too many 5 stars, because I'm just trying to read books that I like. Okay, my whole purpose is to try and find books that I know I'm going to enjoy. So I've been reading for a while. I feel like I've got my taste kind of locked in, and we're doing a good job if there's a lot of 5 stars, honestly. That is that. I am so excited to finally be doing wrap-ups again. It's just so much fun to talk through all of the different books that I have read and having a little yap session, and I am just ready to be back to doing wrap-ups. Leave a little fire emoji down below for the embers of Iron and Embers, and have some fun reading.